There are still so many movies on my Letterboxd watch list, so let's pick one at random and review it. Last Summer, from 1969, directed by Frank Perry. I believe this was nominated for an Academy Award for the lead actress. And this is some sort of disturbing movie. Okay, right off the bat, I want to say that I was mistaken. It's not Barbara Hershey that was nominated for her lead role. It's Catherine Burns in a supporting actress nomination. Where do I even start with this? We have reached our first disturbing movie of this show, and I'm sure we will watch many more as the days roll on. This movie is very hard to find. It's not even available on DVD, so that's why the quality of the footage you're watching isn't the best. But it was 100% worth seeking this movie out. I thought it was excellent, and it's the best thing I've watched for this show so far. This might seem like a whack comparison at first, but if you bear with me here, if you let me cook, I promise I'll bring it home, okay? There's this French movie. It's pretty famous. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you've seen it or maybe at least have heard of it. It's called La Haine. And if you haven't seen it, don't worry. I'm actually not that knowledgeable about French cinema, as you can tell from my amazing French pronunciation. Also, you don't have to worry because I'm not going to spoil the film. Anyways, in La Haine, we follow a group of troubled teens. They are not in gangs, but they are around that environment, right? And they are causing trouble, and some of the situations they end up in are really, really dangerous. In fact, they're constantly cutting it close throughout the entire runtime of the film. So you're just sitting on pins and needles waiting for things to go bad. Also, in the beginning of the film, it is shown that Vincent Cassel's character has a gun. So they've telegraphed really early on what type of film you're watching. You're just waiting for something horrible to happen, and it's anxiety-inducing. Last Summer works in the exact same way, but these characters are rich kids and there's no gun. Instead, there's just hormones, tons and tons of trauma bonding, and a power dynamic that screams at the audience that something horrible is about to happen. And there sure as hell aren't any adults around to guide these kids in the right direction. I'm gonna be very vague with the plot here because I want you to experience this movie for yourself. But essentially what you have here is a trio of kids played by Barbara Hershey, Richard Thomas, and Bruce Davison. They become very close in the beginning of the film. In fact, they become so close that by the time Catherine Burns' character shows up, Rhonda, they are essentially a throuple. Now, Rhonda is not like the other kids in this movie, mostly because she's nice, but she's also lonely and kind of socially awkward. So she'll do anything to get into this group because she looks at their friendship and she's like, wow, this is amazing. I want to have something like that. And you could probably argue that they do let her in to a certain extent, but at that point, the throuple becomes unstable. And if you take into consideration the whole group of all four of them, it's very clear who the weakest link is. Y'all better believe that this movie is on some Lord of the Flies shit. I wish I could sell you on this movie by saying that this is not one of those movies that's just cruel for cruelty's sake, but I actually think it is. I think that's the point. Sometimes kids are just cruel. And that's not to say that mean kids are just born evil and we should just give up on them. That is obviously not the case, and that is not what this movie is saying at all. Once again, let me remind you of the trauma bonding I mentioned earlier. It plays such a vital part in this movie. These are broken kids making terrible, terrible choices. Honestly, I was floored by this movie. It is mostly a hangout film where the hangout vibes are really, really bad. And I think a thing that makes this movie so disturbing is that when you watch it, you are probably gonna feel like you've known some of these kids when you were growing up. And that is such a disturbing thought that the only safe way to sit with it is through art like this. And that's why I'll always champion films like this that talks about the things we don't want to talk about. Being into disturbing films can be exhausting because a lot of them are frankly in very bad taste, but every once in a while you'll watch a movie like this that make the whole endeavor worth it. Thank you so much for watching, and lastly, I want to say that if you're interested in this film but unsure of its contents, there are sites out there that can give you trigger warnings. I'm posting another one of these videos tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about something more lighthearted then. I don't know yet. Stay happy, stay safe. We'll talk about more films soon.